Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. I'm your host Rob. This video we're going to discuss Superman and Batman, probably the second most controversial movie out there that is not only coming out in 2016, it's been pushed back a year, but it seems to be gaining about as much steam as Godzilla. Okay guys, welcome back. So this is a topic that I really haven't touched on too much. You know, one of my earlier videos on the OTT is me talking about Ben Affleck being chosen to play Batman. And the reason I really haven't gotten into this hoopla is because I can only handle one at a time. And I can deal with Godzilla stuff because I am a little bit more educated in that element than I am in Batman and Superman. But this is a viewer request. This is viewer request week, so I am going to give my thoughts and share my opinions on the content you guys are requesting of me. In terms of Superman versus Batman, this is a movie you would think people would be excited about, regardless who's in it. Well, let me not say regardless who's in it, but I gotta say, first of all, the guy who's playing Lex Luthor, I know his last name is Eisenberg, okay? I personally think that was a brilliant move. The guy is a good actor. He plays such a good, arrogant prick role that I think it's going to be perfect. I really do. And one of the things I heard, I remember reading this on a forum, and I think it was on IGN. In fact, it was IGN. And because that's like troll heaven. You go to IGN, there's trolls all over the place, and the most unhappy crowd in the world. I mean, those people are never, ever pleased. It's so funny to go there and read the forums. I remember some guy saying, well, I don't know, he's not big enough to play Lex. And I thought to myself, since when the hell did Lex Luthor's size play any significant role in what he does or how he outwits Batman? Superman. So that, I thought, was probably the most ridiculous comment in the world. How can his size matter? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you bring in a fucking Lex Luthor that is brolic, that bench presses 450, is 6'5", 270 pounds. Whether he's that big or whether he's as small as Peter Dinklage, Superman can still kick the ever-loving shit out of him. So size is irrelevant. Now, the second thing I saw in the general whole discussion is, well, Lex is bald. So I guess guys, there's no more razors in the world. This is not possible. We can't shave his head because there's no more razors in the world. There's no more electric clippers, whatever the case may be. So we have to just, that's why, you know what? That's it. That's why they pushed it back to 2016. They're waiting for Eisenberg to go bald. That's it. We cracked the case, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's stuff like that. And I'm not trying to force my opinion on anyone. If you don't think the guy's good for the role, hey, look, that's your opinion. I respect that. But at least if someone's going to say why they don't think he'll play the role, the fact that he's not bald and the fact that he's not bigger are probably poor reasons. Now, I've seen him in the latest movie I saw him in was Now You See Me, which I will be doing a review at some point while, you know, as I continue the 2013 movie reviews. And I thought he was great in that movie. He played an arrogant prick. I wanted to slap him. So I think he's going to be fine as Lex Luthor. Now revisiting the whole Ben Affleck Batman thing, because it looks for the most part like people have calmed down about that, but I still want to kind of touch on that because there's still some people out there who are completely butthurt. And this to me, look, I'm not a Ben Affleck fan. I'm not an advocate. I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to say why I think he's going to be a good Batman because he's my favorite actor. To be quite frankly, I could give two shits about Ben Affleck. I haven't even, you know, I can't even sit here and go over half the stuff he's done. But I will say this, and this is going to piss off a lot of Batman fans, but I'm going to keep it very real. It is not a hard role to play. It's not. And you want to know something? Ben Affleck shows up and he's got half the job done. You play Bruce Wayne, you got to be a debonair, well-dressed, handsome man with a lockjaw. He's got that down. Okay, he can play that. That's not very difficult to play. The other half is talking like this behind a mask. I'm Batman. We have to get the Joker. We have to get Catwoman. We have to get Penguin and shove his cane up his ass. That's it. That's it. How hard is that? And half the time he's not going to be playing Batman because there'll be a stunt double who's going to be in a suit playing Batman. So why people are so upset about that? Batman is not an Oscar-winning role to play. It's not. Any one of you can play Batman probably. Go audition for the next one. I bet you you'll get. It's not a hard role to play. It's not an Oscar-winning role to play. This is one of the reasons why I didn't like Christian Bale as Batman. Why? I didn't like him as Batman Bruce Wayne altogether. And every time people hear me say that, they go nuts. Number one, he over-exaggerated the voice. Number two, him being an Oscar-winning actor, and now I think he's nominated for another one, he overdid it. He tried too hard. You know, Bruce Wayne does have a sense of charm to him. And the few times that Christian Bale tried to bring that charm out, failed. In my opinion, failed. The reason I like the Dark Knight trilogy and the reason I enjoy all three movies is because of the people surrounding Christian Bale. Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, obviously Heath Ledger, even Tom Hardy. While he's not the greatest man in the world, I still like Tom Hardy overall as an actor. Gary Oldman. Those people surrounding Batman in that trilogy, in my opinion, were just as much a reason why that trilogy was successful as Christian Bale. And to be honest, let's be real. Let's be honest here. Okay, let's not bullshit each other. Heath Ledger made that trilogy, okay? Nobody in their fucking world went to go see Batman Begins. I think it made, what, 220 million? And it's not that it was, I'm not saying it wasn't successful. It was successful, but look at the significant difference in the amount of money the first movie made from the second. And the only reason the second movie did so well is because the first weekend it came out, people ran to see whether or not Heath Ledger's Joker was going to be shit or was going to be good. And when those people ran to that theater and they saw the performance put on by Heath Ledger, guess what? That's why the movie exploded onto the scene. And then that popularity carried over into The Dark Knight Rises. And The Dark Knight Rises, while it still did very well, obviously is probably the one movie out of the trilogy that's most criticized. So my point is, Batman is not a hard role to play. You know, and I know people are going to disagree. People are going to go nuts. That's fine. It's not a hard role to play. I know you DC lovers out there who love Batman probably don't like to hear what I'm saying about this, but I'm giving my honest opinion. It's not a hard role to play. So I think Joker is a more difficult role to play than Batman. Batman is not a hard role to play. Sorry, it's not. So I think those two terms, people need to kind of just relax. You know, you got to at least give people an opportunity to show you what they're capable of before you really prejudge them. And to be fair, while I'm not a Ben Affleck fan, he's been hot lately. He has. He's been hot. So Warner Brothers went and struck when the iron was hot, and they took Ben Affleck. So now, in terms of the overall consensus of the movie being pushed back, on one hand, Warner Brothers is saying they're so full of shit. Warner Brothers is saying, oh, you know, we want to give the studio time to really find the vision of... And then the other story that I'm hearing, and which is a rumor, or is said to be a rumor, is that Ben Affleck broke his leg, and that's really why they're pushing it back. Either or, quite honestly, it's probably in their best interest. If I'm not mistaken, Age of Ultron comes out in 2015. DC's not... I mean, Warner Brothers is not there yet. I loved Man of Steel. I thought it was a great movie. Obviously, the Batman trilogy has been phenomenal. Green Lantern, not so much. They still have time to go and fix that. But overall, I know there's a lot of Superman, Batman fans who want this to come out perfect, and it's not. These movies about these real popular characters like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Godzilla, whoever, it's never going to please everyone. And that's why sometimes I think it's a little crazy how people get all worked up over certain things, like who's cast in a certain role. Just because you envision somebody as the perfect character doesn't mean it's going to be perfect for everybody else. I'll give you a prime example. You want to know who I always thought would be a perfect Logan? A Wolverine back in the day, like when the very first X-Men come out. You guys want to know who I thought would be a perfect Wolverine? Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson was my vision of Wolverine. Why? Because he was raspy. Wolverine, even though he's you know, he's got the healing factor, so he lives a long time. But Wolverine always had, to me, an older look than Hugh Jackman. And he was short. He was stocky. He wasn't ripped. And I'm sure they would have worked on that. But he was stocky. And last but not least, if you've never seen the movie Wolf, starring Jack Nicholson and James Spader, go check it out. There's a fight scene at the end between Jack Nicholson and James Spader where I swear to God, Jack Nicholson looks just like Wolverine in the comics. So that was my vision. And I'm not even upset with Hugh Jackman because, you know, that's how it is. It's not based on what you think. It's based on what the studios think would be best for the role. And I think Ben Affleck's going to do fine. I think Eisenberg's going to do fine. I think Henry Cavill is fine as Superman. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think we'll get a fine movie. And that's it. That's it. And of course, you'll have a fine movie in my standards, and there'll be people out there butthurt about it. There always are. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great movie. It's about time DC started to put up some competition, because they have, while their roster of superheroes is not as fantastic as Marvel, the small cast of characters they do have is really, really strong. And I understand that there's also been Gal Gadot and somebody was telling me, I think Joaquin Phoenix is going to be in this movie, and I can't remember who he's going to play. But it seems like they're really, really starting to bring out a roster. Now, in terms of Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman, I think she's got the height. Some people think she's not big enough or ripped enough. A lot can happen between now and 2016, so that's another thing I think people need to calm down about. Just because she may not look ripped now doesn't mean she's not going to put on a good 15 pounds of muscle between now and 2016. We just started 2014. I'm sure she's working out now. Let's give it time before we quick to judge that she's too small for the role. I used to play football before my current fat days. I used to lift weights. I used to bench press 450. I was a beast in the gym when I was playing football. And I can tell you right now, you can easily put on 15 pounds of muscle in 2 years. Easily. All right. So, but anyway, guys, that's it for this video. It's a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I know there was a lot to cover because I have not really spoken about the movie. But we have 2 years before it comes out. So I think everybody, and not you guys, but anybody out there who's really butthurt or worried about the movie, give it time. They got 2 years to get it done. And I think personally they're heading in the right direction. That's it, guys. See you next video.